Technicolor. What is happening, everybody? Welcome to another reselling show. You got myself, Thrifting Goomba Michael here, and I got my compadre, the big O, Oscar. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, bro. Doing good. You kind of caught me by surprise. I was down here, playing with the little screw, one of my little fidget things, and we're live. But hey, I know that we got a good show. I know that we were talking a little bit in the back, about the topic. I think it's very interesting, and we already take it to the next step. We already talked about, turning, your business into your hobby into a business, starting a reselling business. We talk about the importance of shipping to be able to save, because that's one of the things that is can make or break, a reseller in reselling, So now,
Yeah.
now we're moving on to the fun part.
Fun part, man. You're looking for that pot of gold. Well, what is the pot of gold? Pot of gold represents products and stuff. But I just want to say one thing. It's funny. I just want to take a step back about the shipping and everything. What you're talking about, how important it is. Here it was today. I'm scrolling through some Facebook and some Facebook groups to check out stuff. And I got to tell you something. There had to be at least 5 posts about shipping. What do I do? How come this? How come my customer paid $11, but it's costing me $42? Or just all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So people, it's important that you go ahead and you do that. But what are you going to ship? Right? What are you going to ship? We got that pot of gold. Everybody's out looking for the pot of gold. What is the pot of gold? The pot of gold is product. So how do you do it? And there's plenty of ways to obtain product. And there's plenty of ways to go ahead and screw yourself by obtaining the wrong product. So, it's not just product, it's the right product. It's knowing about products. So, to me, I think if you're a new reseller, there's 2 things you should do. Most important, in my opinion, is number 1, try and sell the stuff that is around your house that you don't use anymore. Because if you're not 100% sure, you don't want to go to a store or go to a garage sale or go to an estate sale or something like that. And we'll talk about those more. But you don't want to go out and buy stuff and spend money when you're not 100% sure how it's going to work out, right? Why not go ahead and start with stuff that, lack of better word, is kind of free. So if you lose a little bit on shipping because you weren't sure because you thought it weighed about 7 ounces, but it actually weighed 10 ounces, or 9 ounces, and that brings you to the next shipping level, and you weren't sure, right? You won't go ahead and hurt yourself too bad. So that would be number 1: is use the stuff that is around your house, to go ahead and actually, start your business along the way rather than jumping in and doing that kind of stuff. And number 2, is start small. And what I mean by small is that don't try and sell everything. Maybe start with, a couple of things, and actually maybe even go ahead and only say, you know what, I'm only going to do some hard goods stuff, right? I'm not going to do clothes just yet. I'm only going to do some, maybe I'm going to do some, some whatever it may be, a salt and pepper shaker, an old candy dish or something along those. And those could be tricky shipping, but the thing is that you want stuff that, that you going to be easy to research and something you can find around your house. You know what I'm saying? And also, before I pass it over to you, hey, I just wanted to give some shout outs. You got Spicy Curry, thank you for coming. We got Kathy, thanks for hopping in here. Land Shark, I'm here. You're here looking for the pot of gold. We heard we have to come to Alabama, where you are, to go ahead and find all the gold because you have it, sir. So, I mean, you got it, and we're going to be coming over to your place. But what do you think, Oscar? I mean, if you're when you're starting out, if you were telling somebody who, your next door neighbor says, "Hey, I want to do this," and they see everything you're doing, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Well, I think that the first thing that they got to consider is what do they want to be able to get from reselling, right? How far do they want to get to it? Once they've already made that decision and they think that they want to be able to grow that into a business, they got to go and they got to find something that they can sell, right? Now, I think that it's a great idea for them to look around for basic things around the house, things that they don't use, things that otherwise probably would have gotten into a pile or in the corner of the garage, because that's going to go ahead, as you said before, it's going to help them, kind of get familiar with the process of listing and then shipping, and then kind of understand that a little better. But if they don't necessarily have to just stick to that, right? I think that in the beginning, the important thing is that people are listing, right? And they're listing their products. Start by listing stuff around the house. Once you've listed everything in your house, you can go out to yard sales. You can find things that you're going to spend, $1, $2, $5, $10, and they're going to have decent returns, right? Which is one thing that I love. And then I know that we'll go into a little bit more detail about that because, garage sales is one of the best ways that you can source and find the best returns, right? You can't compare the margins that you find at garage sales and yard sales with, retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, unless you get lucky, you know what I mean? But definitely, it's looking around your house and listing things around your house, going out to garage sales and finding things $1 or $2 and sourcing products that way.
Yeah, and I think and that's great, and that's a perfect point there. As we're looking to go ahead and expand, what would I do? Where would you go, and so on and so forth. I mean, I think one thing that a lot of people won't do, if they is there. Some people, and let's face it, there are some people who are embarrassed to go ahead and tell their friends and family, what it is they do. But friends and family is another way where you can go ahead and typically get stuff for next to nothing. Hey, you were going to throw that away? Do you mind if I take that? Or so on and so forth, right? So don't be afraid to let people know what you're doing. That opens up another avenue for you to obtain product, so that's what we're looking at from her. That's how, when we're looking for that pot of gold, we're looking for that rainbow, the actual products that we're going to find. That's what we're talking about. That's how you're going to get your pot of gold. You by looking for, those products. Mrs. Sadie makes a good point. No more yard sale treasure map app. Now,
is that true?
Well, I don't know. I know what happened was Craigslist basically ended their agreement with them. But I don't know if that means the app went away. From what I had heard, they want now what they're saying is that they're looking for hopefully that people who are going to have yard sales are going to put them on there. So from that standpoint, that's what they're hoping for. I don't know. It all depends. See what people do. But I'm gonna have to cancel my little. I mean, it's only $6 a year, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll keep it for the rest of this year and see what happens. If there's nothing that changes by December, then if I have to go ahead and get out, I'll get out. Yeah. But the key with the product though is and it's going place to find. So Oscar made a great point. Yard sales, and you got to be creative when you go to yard sales. And a lot of people are intimidated when they go to yard sales because if you're brand new, you go and you buy something and you find something, and you find this and you think, wow, they only want a quarter for this. Well, I got to be able to sell that. It's only a quarter. Look at that. See?
I got mine for 10 cents.
10 cents. Look at that. You know what I'm saying? So, but a lot, that doesn't mean it's going to sell. Just because you can buy stuff for cheap doesn't mean you're going to be able to sell it. So yard sales are great, but you got to make sure you're looking stuff up. I like going to the last day of estate sales. Now, people will say, well, you might lose out on stuff if you wait till the last day. You're right.
This is true.
This is very, very true. But you could also go ahead and get better deals because and I usually will go on the last day. I will take the chance and I will, go maybe a couple hours, before it's going to end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, where you can make a deal. You know, that's what it comes down to, of saying, you know, I think, look, you know, when you go to a yard sale, or not necessarily a yard sale, when you go to an estate sale, those people have been around long enough to know, as you're walking around and they can kind of see, you know, what you're doing and so on and so forth, they kind of have an idea you're probably a reseller, you
Mm-hmm.
know, from that standpoint. So again, you know, don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to make friends with them. You know, how
That's
do you go
important.
ahead? What?
That's important.
Yeah.
And
I,
making friends with them.
I did that. I was doing that with a guy, and then all of a sudden COVID hit,
Mm-hmm.
and estate sales, I mean, it dried up really, really fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so I'm hoping as they start up a little bit more, I'll go back. You know, the guy, you know, the guy drives a Jeep also, so he saw me pull up with my Jeep. So next time I show up, at least, you know, I showed him, he'll at least remember the Jeep, so he'll kind of sort of remember me. But that's another thing, you know, estate sales, very, very important, to have in your, for lack of better words, arsenal of places to source from. And again, you need to understand where you're going when you're doing it. You know, if you go into a neighborhood where there's $500,000 homes, $1 million homes, you might not get great deals. Maybe you will get great deals. You don't know. Don't shy away from a place just because of what you think. Oh my gosh, that neighborhood over there, that's the really expensive neighborhood, I'm going to stay away from there. No, you don't want to do that. You got to go everywhere, and you can't be afraid to spend a little bit of money. You know, the old saying, it takes money to make money. It's true. What you have to understand is this, and I, you know, I've said this a number of times before. There's two things. Number one, you know, you can only source what you could find. Everybody thinks that they should go out and they should. I don't understand. I watched this video. I watched that video. I read on this Facebook page or on that Facebook page. Everybody's going out finding stuff except for me. Yeah, that happens. It happens to everybody. You don't go ahead and walk out and all of a sudden go somewhere and boom, everything is sitting there for you, and you fill up, you know, your little, you know, your IKEA bag in 10 minutes and go, okay, I'm done. I'm ready to check out, you know? And the other thing is it's hard to find the things that are going to buy for a nickel and sell for $150.
I mean, but they're out there. But they're out there, and it usually happens when, you know, the person at the yard sale, the garage sale, the estate sale, they don't know what they have, right? And it happens. It happens, but you can't discriminate on, you know, by area. You know what I mean? You got to hit the $1 million homes. You got to hit the so-so homes. You got to hit the economy homes, you know, for lack of better words, right? So you got to hit all of those areas. But kind of going back to what you were saying about, you know, someone, you can only source what you can find, and someone being, you know, rather upset because they didn't find anything and they've gone out several times. You got to be the most competitive competitor. I know that here in Miami, every Saturday morning, there's going to be hundreds of people going out to the garage sales, hundreds of people going out to the yard sales. You know what I mean? You got to have a strategy. You got to have a plan. You know, I know that the treasure map made it very easy because you can see kind of a couple pictures that are posted, and you can kind of, you know, go through the pictures like as if you were, you know, casing out a storage unit, you know, say, what do they have here? You know, take a look at what they have, and then make your route, you know, and then trying to coordinate your time so you are one of the first ones there, but not always are you going to be able to make out, you know, like a bandit. Sometimes you will. But one of the things that you said that caught my attention about making friends, you know, make friends with the people, making friends with the people at the yard sales and estate sales, that definitely pays off. There's just one guy down here that, you know, before he sends out his email blast, or he starts, you know, promoting the estate sale, you know, he'll send me an email first. Right. And a lot of times I'll kind of have, you know, he'll kind of tell me briefly what it is that he has. And the way that I was able to get that set up with him, you know, that he can let me know, is simple. I just wrote my email address on a piece of paper, gave him my email address, just let me know the next time you have another estate sale. And he's already seen me a couple times, and I've ran into him in Miami Beach. I've ran into him in Perrine. I've ran into him in North Miami in a couple different estate sales. Just this one guy, old gentleman, his name's Mike the auctioneer. you know, and just give them your phone number, give them, and then talk to them. Tell them it's like, no, I'm a reseller, and then a lot of times, they're reselling too,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are. They most definitely are, and that's a great point and everything, and I went to one, and I went on a Saturday, but I had to leave. I couldn't stay very long, so I could only get through like half the house and everything, and I went quick. For me, I don't know what you do when you go to estate sales. I mean, it might be different where you are. But like here, we have downstairs, I don't want to call them basements because we really don't have a lot of stuff underground. I mean, you could have a partial underground, but they're walkouts. It's not like we have a cellar or a basement like from somebody, in the Northeast area or something like that. But I usually always head there or I head to the garage because there's stuff there that a lot of people don't think about. And I spent a lot of time in the basement. I came up with a box and everything, and I put it down, and I said, hey, I'm going to go look for more stuff. The guy's like, yeah, just leave right over there. Everything is good. I did what I had to do and everything, and I looked and I said, man, oh, crap, I got to go. I better go ahead. So I went and checked out and everything, and, and I knew he was going to be there on Sunday, but just to go ahead and say, hey, you're going to be back here. Are you going to be doing this tomorrow? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I got to get here. I may come back. So he's like, cool. So I bought a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't spend a ton of money. I think I spent $40, but man, I went ahead and got a lot of stuff. I went back the next day and everything and, went through some more stuff, found some more stuff and everything like that. And I put the stuff down and everything. And the guy like took just a quick look and he's like, you just give me $10. Right. Because I came back, he was like, wow, this guy was buying, so on and so forth. So that's something to do and everything. And Mr. Sadie makes a great point. Buying broken electronics and appliances, parting them out very low, so on and so forth. I'll take that one step further, Mr. Sadie. So I have been selling for a little while now. Baby bullet. The magic bullet? You ever hear the magic bullet? It's a thing.
Food processor.
Yeah, little man, and you make smoothies or whatever, salad dressings, all that kind of stuff. Well, they came out with a baby one, and they had a whole bunch of little pieces with it. They had different, size cups and so on and so forth. So I was in a Goodwill and I saw one, and I saw the box, and it was $7.99, and I'm like, holy cow, you got to be kidding me! I took it, opened the box, I looked. Everything was brand spanking new, still in the factory, the still in the bags and everything. It was missing the motor. Now I watched 2 other people before me pick it up, open it up really fast, look, see no motor, no base unit, close it and put it back. And I was like, why are they putting it back? So when I went out, oh, no motor. I'm like, huh? All the other stuff was brand new. I'll bet you. So I said, okay. I took it. It was $8. Now, there wound up being 16 different pieces in there. So I listed each one separate. So now all of a sudden, my cost for each one is 50 cents. Right? So I've been selling those one by one. I think I have 2 pieces left. I'm up over $100 in profit already. Because how much you can sell them for.
How much does the unit normally cost brand new?
I guarantee you it doesn't cost nowhere near $100. And it's funny, I would have made less money if it had the base unit. Because I wouldn't because I might not have thought about parting it out. I might not have done that, you know what I'm saying? But it not having that one piece made me think about it. So now I do look at electronics different, like Mr. Sadie says.
Vacuum cleaners, just the head, the brush, the hose, things like that. You have a vacuum cleaner, you know what I mean? Well, the reason I say is because one time, my very first storage unit, 7 vacuum cleaners, you know what I mean? It's like, what am I gonna do with 7 old vacuum cleaners? Well, I took the hoses, and I took the small parts, the brush heads and things like that.
Yeah.
And then you can sell those things, individually, you part it up.
Yeah, and I think to that point, once you break it down, it takes up less space.
Mm-hmm.
You put it in a plastic bag, have the number, the part number, or whatever code you put on it, you list it and everything. You just let it sit there, and someone's going to need it sooner or later. You don't take up a lot of room, and like you said, you wind up making, a heck of a lot more than if you do it. I have two vacuums, and it's funny you say that. I have two vacuums, and I have to take apart. I bought them with the sole intention of that, and one of them I got at a thrift store not too far from us. They do a different price. It's one price, but it's a different price each day. So I bought this vacuum on 50-cent day. So I got a whole vacuum for 50 cents.
That's a deal.
Oh man, it's thievery. I was like, man, vacuum. Hey, how much? That's 50 cents. Okay, thank you very much. Whoop, boom, I'll put that one in my shopping cart.
Yeah. And it's funny that we're talking about this because the person that I learned this from is actually in the chat. I remember when I first started reselling, and we were in a back. It wasn't StreamYard then. It was the Google Hangouts back then, right?
Yeah.
And it was Land Shark Picker actually, who at that time he was parting out. I think it was one of those exercise machines. I forget what they're called. Treadmill. It was a treadmill.
Really?
Yeah.
See, now I would never. Wow. But again, it's saying, when you resell, and to use the title, you have to follow a lot of rainbows to finally find that pot of gold. You really do, right? You have to keep searching. There's all different places you can go. It's about finding product. But again, and we'll touch on it here, but we probably need to go ahead and probably, as we go along with this, the way we're doing right now, research one. We're probably going to need to go ahead and have a show, that focuses a good amount on research and how to research and what to look for when you research. But that's the other thing, and I mentioned it before. Just because you buy something for a quarter doesn't mean, yes, I'm going to make money when I sell it. That item may not sell, right? So even when you're going to garage sales, you're going to yard sales, you're going to wherever it is you're going, we're only focusing on those, those types of areas right now. Because those tend to be the ones where you could really, for the most part, find the best deals on product. Do your research. Look it up. Go on the eBay app and look. And we'll just hit it real quickly here, but you want to make sure you're looking at what things sell for, not what they're listed for.
Right.
I can go ahead and take this, and I could list this for $500.
And then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna make him an offer for $1.
Right.
Which you're going to accept because he's charging shipping.
Right. And knowing that this is, so you have to, so this will sit around a long time if you're going ahead and waiting and thinking someone will buy this for $500. No, they go for $3.72. That's what the average sale is. That's where you need to be, right? So you need to do your research from that standpoint.
Yeah, we'll touch on that, because now we're kind of talking a little bit more about product research and then also, pricing strategy.
Well, I just wanted to bring it up a little bit because if you're going out to a garage sale, you just can't buy everything.
Right. You got to so take my experience, for example. Back when Alex was down here in Miami, we were going out every Saturday. We were going and we were hitting up garage sales, yard sales. There was even art sales. It was a house that had nothing but, expensive pieces of art.
Really?
And so on that one, we were pretty much just making a video. We weren't going to buy it because we couldn't afford it, But, we did go to a couple of estate sales, and in one of these particular estate sales, there was a vintage sewing machine, a Pfaff. I still have it. It's vintage. It's in excellent condition. It has the table. It's got the knee pedal, and I paid $20 for it, $20 for it. And I remember this is me in the very beginning of reselling, and I was excited about it. I still have it in the garage. I haven't installed it. I'm using it as a table because the sewing machine tucks into the table, and then the table closes over. It's just a table. So right now it's holding some toys that I got from Retail Arbitrage. But it's $25. But I looked at the comps, I checked what it sold for, and I seen that it does have a number of sales anywhere from the $250 range up into the $500 range. So right there is a score. But I didn't really consider the cost of shipping, even though at those prices, I'm pretty sure that I'm still gonna cut a profit. But I didn't consider, I was new the cost of shipping. So that's another thing. You can go out and you can source things. You still got to remember cost of shipping, which we spoke about in the last show we had. So you also got to take that into consideration when you're going out there and you're looking for your pot of gold. You know what I mean? How much is that pot of gold gonna weigh?
Yeah, big pot of gold get heavy.
It gets heavy.
And what you're buying is versus what it costs to ship. And then you have to figure out, wow, what's it going to take to make sure it arrives safe, right? It's easy to go ahead and say, hey, I can just go ahead and throw this in a box and everything's going to be fine. It still has to get to your customer safely, right? It still has to get there. I didn't realize that about, man, looking at John Jones, man. Lazy boy recliners, drive pad, grab the handles. I didn't think about that one.
Just snatch the handle right off of it. And leave the
recliner. W isn't working. Yeah. So I think, when you look at, again, where you're getting your product, like I say, and we're talking about, you can't be afraid. There are a lot of places to go. You got to get creative. And we've spoken about the ones that, have it, could be a less intimidating, to go ahead and go to, right? Because garage sales and stuff like that, they've been around forever. It's been, it's always been a thing, right? People have always, they've gone to garage sales and stuff, and it's kind of been a thing. But now as you're going along, and you're, what happens if you live in Maine and now it is a garage sale season? Well, then what do you do, Oscar?
If it's not garage sale season?
Yeah. You live in Maine. There's white stuff all around you.
Yeah.
I know you have a different kind of white stuff around you in Miami, but the other kind of white stuff in Maine.
It's a very different type of white stuff. But yeah, no, once you're out of garage sale season, your options have been cut. Your options are cut. I mean, the only thing I can share is my experience. When there's no garage sale, Miami has garage sales year round, right?
Right.
But when I wasn't at garage sales, what I would do is I would go to Dollar Tree, and I'll be sourcing books. I'll be sourcing chocolate, at the Dollar Tree. I'll be looking at clearance sections at Walmart, Target. Target, sometimes the clearance sections, they get so cheap that, it's like, why are they actually even charging? Right. Sometimes they've seen like ridiculous numbers on the little yellow tags at Target. For smaller toys, smaller household items, but still, those are the kind of things that I would do. I had to move, obviously. If I was in Maine and there's a different kind of white stuff around me, and the white stuff that's around here in Miami all the time, I'd probably be moving into the retail big box stores, looking at their clearance, sourcing there, because still with a little bit of money, you could find, products that have decent returns. Not the same as the garage sale, but it is decent returns. Before we really get into that, I want to, there's a really good point that Mr. Sadie just made, is listed versus sold numbers can be very helpful when figuring out how fast they can move. This is very important because you're going to know the numbers are going to tell you two things. It's going to tell you how many are listed and how many have sold through the period of time, which is 90 days is what it's showing you. Right? Based off that ratio is going to tell you if an item is, something that is selling well, something that's not selling that well. And then if you have one that has a lot more sales and then a lot more listed, you know what I mean? It's probably worth taking the shot.
Right.
It's worth taking the gamble. And that's been the case 99.9% of the time. That 0.01% has been the things that I haven't listed that are still in my garage.
Yeah. But and to that point, when you're looking at that type of stuff, don't if something is selling really quickly, don't be afraid to pay a little more money. Yes, you may not make as much profit, but you're going to make that profit quicker.
Yes.
You know,
Very good point.
when you're trying to go ahead and you're trying to build that pot of gold, you don't want items that are always you want a combination of items as you start listing, right? We would all love stuff that I listed and 18 minutes later, bing, or cha-ching, cha-ching, right? And we know that doesn't happen all the time because as you do certain things, if you were to get into, as Mr. Sadie said, the vacuums, the electronics that we talked about, stuff like that, those are, longer tail, they're going to sit there longer, right? Because you have I have this, and this is part number X3752.
You need to get another prop, Mike. That's it. Put that prop down.
What can I use? That's a knife. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like you need something, you need a certain piece or something for something, whatever it may be, right? If you're doing like parting out stuff, you need someone to basically break something for them to find what you're looking for, right? So something like that is going to take a little longer to sell. So you need to have a combination of stuff that goes through rather quickly and those longer tail items. But again, don't be afraid that on the ones, that you're looking at, and if you find something and there's 150 sales and there's 25 items, only listed, don't be afraid to pay up to get that, because you're going to get your money back quicker to reinvest and buy more product. Because that's what, in the beginning, that pot of gold, if you're doing this business and you want to build for the long term, in the beginning, that pot of gold stays empty often, or not completely empty, right? But doesn't get as filled, because then it shouldn't be, because as you're going ahead and getting started, as you're bringing money in, you got to go out and find more, right? The old, you got to feed the beast. So you still need to get to more garage sales. You need to get to more yard sales and estate sales and thrift stores, or any other kind, secondhand stores, whatever it may be, repurposing stores, consignment shops, antique malls, all those other things. You have to, again, like I was saying, you have to follow a lot of rainbows and see what's at the end of them, and see, are you going to find that stuff? Because that's what you got to find. That's what you have to get. You're if you want to go ahead and build that pot of gold and you want to get that one, you have to, you're going to have to follow a lot of, I hate to say it, but you're going to have to follow a lot of rainbows.
And then one thing that's 100% true. But one thing that I found myself in the beginning is that I was going after these things that were pot of golds. And then I have had some issues happen with these things that were pot of golds. I can tell you at the beginning that if I sold a TV, like one of the tube TVs, that's a VHS combo with a DVD and everything, and I sold it for $300 plus $70 shipping, it was in a big box. When I'm starting out and I have that kind of sale and I have that money on my end in my PayPal, and then something happens during shipping, you know what I mean? It really hurts having to pay that out.
Yep.
So there are some items you might want to stay away from in the beginning if you haven't built up, your reselling business account, to where, you can comfortably have to refund the money. It still wouldn't be a loss to you. Because you probably paid $25 for it, $10 for it, $15 for it at a garage sale, and you resold it for a lot more. Those are the margins that we were talking about earlier. But having to pull that out of your account does kind of hurt, when you're just starting out. This is my case. It happened to me many times, even, a couple of people that I know that have, bought a laser printer for like about $40 and then sold it for $400. When the customer opens it up, there's laser ink all over the place.
Right.
The cartridge is opened up. So, having to refund that, it kind of hurts. So that, be careful of which pots of gold you stick your hands into, because in the beginning, one might look like a pot of gold, but in the beginning, it could not be a pot of gold. It could be a pot of crap.
Yeah. It's those candy wrapped living coins, those chocolate coins, But it's true though. I mean, but but it's true. I mean, that's what I was saying, in the beginning, when you're first starting out, everybody wants to, depending on what your thought, what your, like we spoke about, a few weeks ago, what your why is, right? But no matter what your why is, even if you're thinking, man, I'm going to make this is going to be my full-time thing, and I plan on going full-time and so on and so forth, you can. Plenty of people have done it. But if you were new, my recommendation would still be to start small, though. Master certain things. We talked about shipping last week. Master that. Then master finding product. It's not and you will never master it because it's so fluid. It changes.
Yeah.
When you think, and a lot of people get in trouble because they jump in on something because they, oh my gosh, this is the great thing, but you don't realize that, well, you're hearing at it on the downslope. It's still selling, but you're on the downslope, right? So depending on when you hear about things and so on and so forth, you have to be, conscious of what you're buying. So that's to me, it's start small.
Mm-hmm.
You walk into a place and you're like, oh my gosh, they have 100 of these and they're only $1 and they sell for $15. I'm going to make a crap ton of money.
You're talking about my puzzles last year.
Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Not saying that you can't.
You can.
But you can. But you have to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to know what is going on. Where are you in that? I'm sure there are a lot of people in this pandemic who kind of sort of found out about certain types of products, and loaded up on them. And then as states started opening up and I hate to say this, but they let people go ahead and go do things, those things now all of a sudden they're not as popular. Right. Yes, they're still selling, but they're not selling at the velocity that they were.
Or the price.
Yeah. So when you're starting out, use always people, like I was saying, there's a lot of places for you to find that product to help you build that pot of gold, but you have to be smart as to what you are buying. We've said this a number of times on this show, and we've said a number of times on our previous show. You do not make your money when you sell something. You make your money when you buy it. You make your money when you buy, because if you don't buy smart, it doesn't make a difference kind of sort of what you sell it for. I was watching a video of a guy who said, yeah, this was awesome. I went and I bought, I think they were basically brand new women's jackets. He bought 300 of them for, not a lot of money. Because, hey, brand new on QVC or on TV, they sell for $80 brand new. He's lucky if he's getting around $12, $13 for them. Now, is he making money? Of course he is. Is he going to make good money? Of course he is. He had 300 jackets. But he thought he was making a freaking 55-gallon drum pot of gold. And now he's only probably making, like a courtside bucket worth of gold, right? He's still making it, but he's not.
Not even a potato sack worth of gold?
And I don't think so. Not that one. No, I mean, he expected to sell them, and he's getting about a third of what he thought he was going to sell them for. So, you got to be careful. You got to be smart. You have to be mindful of what it is, you're going out there again, that's why, I mean, and think about it this way, if you were a brand new seller and you walk into this deal, right? 300 brand new jackets. They sell for $89 online or $80 online or on TV. And someone says, I'll sell them to you for $2.50 a jacket or $5 a jacket. You're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to sell those for $49 a pop, $50 a pop. Right? And you jump in and all of a sudden it doesn't start happening, and it's not happening. And then it could, then it's like, well, you can start getting bummed out. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I should, I couldn't. So you have to go ahead and be mindful, about it is what you're buying. Mr. Sadie makes a couple of good points here. Always be cash flow conscious. Don't spend all your bank on slow movers. Mix it up at least. That's what we were talking about. Yes, you need both of those types of items in your stores. You need the fast movers. Fast movers make your cash flow go along. Typically, your slow movers
make more
money. Those usually you have your larger ROI on, right? That's where you get your biggest gap between what I paid for it and what it's going to sell for. Right? Usually that's your slow mover.
I mean, it also depends on the time of year and the year because, that last year was a complete exception to everything that we've just said.
Yep.
The sourcing was limited. Shipping was backed up. The margins were incredible for retail arbitrage items that, never think because people weren't able to go to the stores and get them themselves.
Yep.
So it's a complete didn't count. That's a complete exception to everything. It was just abnormal last year.
No, you're right. You're 100% correct. And I think when you look at it, it's one of those years where you definitely have to look at that. You had products. You think about it, you had a large majority of people who were afraid to leave their house. And the only way they could get anything was to buy it online. Or if they were lucky, their next door neighbor would say something, right? But I think and stuff sold fast. Mr. Sadie, yeah, see you later. Mr. Sadie I just saw that in the chat. I was looking at the StreamYard chat's a little slower than that, but yep. And it's craziest stuff as fast as you could list it, right?
Yarn. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I sold so much yarn last year.
Yeah.
It's like I never thought in my life that I'd be selling yarn, but here I am selling, what is it they're called? It starts with an S. A bundle of yarn.
Oh, I don't know what to get bundle of yarn. Yeah. But I think, to your point, and where now you can get burned as a new seller. And that, we should be beyond that part now, right? If you're looking, you're 90 days, so you're seeing December, January, February, right? So we've seen the market, I think, but that's where a lot of people got burned because they would, again, they were on the back end, but when you're in the back end, you're seeing the last 3 months, and the last 3 months could have still been the peak. Mm-hmm. And people were making decisions to go and saying, oh my gosh, this stuff is flying. I can't believe it. I'm buying every single one that I see, no matter what the price is. And a lot of those people got burned. A lot of those people got burned on that. Home improvement. Kathy says scan, right? You got to scan everything.
Is it a scheme though, right?
Scan.
Something like that. I remember.
That's what it is. A scan of yarn. Scan.
No, I thought it was a skein.
Scan.
Just
get it done.
Yarn. Hey, I sold so many scans of yarn last year.
You sold bundles.
But I don't know if they will still sell the same because now can people just go out to Michael's and pay 99 cents for them?
Right.
$2.
Right. And I think that's what it is, that's where I think a new seller can, really, I think think a lot of new sellers that whatever might be, you know, I think, and you know, I'll look and I'll see comments in Facebook groups. I've been watching videos for 4 months. I'm finally ready to go. Well, that's great. You've been watching videos and people that are posting now, that a lot of those videos sometimes are 3-4 months old, because people aren't going to show you what they're buying today, because what happens is they don't want everybody else running to the store and buying it, right?
Mhm.
A lot of times people will hold that stuff. Who was it? It was Reezy Resells, right? He had that video where he said he spent, like, you know, where he went and he was going to buy the patio heaters. Well, he released that video, I think it was maybe like in January, but I think he did all that work in August and September, you know, but he held that video because they're not going to show it. So be mindful of videos that you're watching when you're a newer seller, and seeing what the hot item is,
Mhm.
you know, when you
Yep.
see that type of stuff. I went
The
to,
thing is that sometimes people will put out those videos and they don't realize that there's still, they're still consistently selling. I've had people, so it's done this, the pricing action on hide items, goes like this, and then it goes down a little bit, right? And then people release their videos, but then the pricing action goes right back up. It's like two waves, so, but you definitely got to be wary of the time of year that people are putting out sometimes videos, also, trends, stay ahead of the trend. If there's a new TV show that's coming out, or there's a new movie that's coming out, right? Certain toys and certain, products are going to be hot, right? After that's it, after the show is fizzled away,
yeah,
somebody released that video. Doesn't mean go out and buy it, because that could have already passed, but you'll be able to see that just from from doing your due diligence, doing your product research and seeing if it's still selling. I know that eBay in the past was really good. I know that last year especially, they were really good at telling you what was selling on their platform, directly to your inbox. You would get the notification on what was selling. They'll tell you, you got roller skates that are selling, puzzles are selling, you got all of these things they were telling you. Basically, they'll tell you the percentage. Video game consoles is up 1,200%. You know what I
right.
mean? Video game consoles are up 1,200%. Perfect. I got a tote that's full of them, and then here I am selling Wii's for $100 more than what you could have bought them when they were new, and these are used. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, it's you got to do the research. It's very important.
Yeah. And I think, when you do that research again, be mindful of the time of year, all the other kind of stuff. I mean, just, just because you see something is selling, like you said, like for instance, and you have to look at certain things, right? Let's say you want to do some food items, and I don't care whether those food items are on eBay or if they are on Amazon. It does not make a difference. Right now is not a real good time of year, to be. Well, in Florida, it might not be good any time of year, but in certain parts of the country right now is not a good time to get into chocolates.
Hmm?
It's not a good time to sell chocolate.
I don't know about that.
Why? As the temperature gets hotter, how are you going to keep the chocolate from melting?
It doesn't matter. People find a way. Chocolate lovers who love their mint truffles and love their dark chocolate will find a way. I assure you that. But no, you're definitely true. Some items are more seasonal than others. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's important for you to be able to also tell what's seasonal. Chocolates, though, are really, I personally feel that chocolates sell very well year round, but some of the seasonality of the chocolates also tends to change. You're gonna have your peppermint flavors around Christmas time. You're gonna have your pumpkin spice in
October.
the fall. You know what I mean? So those things are important. Seasonality of the items that you're sourcing. It's like you're not gonna buy hot chocolate right in the middle of the summer. So
Yeah. And you got to watch your expiration dates and how long something takes to sell.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go ahead and sell something and all of a sudden a customer gets it and you're going, excuse me, this expired 3 weeks ago. Why the hell are you still selling it? from that standpoint.
Because it's a discontinued item and you're never going to be able to buy it ever
Right.
again.
And this type of thing does not go bad. So don't worry about it. Just eat it and enjoy.
Discontinued items are fantastic also.
They are discontinued items, most definitely. But I think, as you were saying, before, the trends, but then it's a pop culture is another area, and a lot of that times that a lot of pop culture drives a lot of trends.
Yeah, because we've seen recently the enormous wave of consumerism from Gen Z population. You know what I mean? It's like the things that are out of the market now are completely different to the things that when I was a kid, and then the kids are buying stuff like crazy, and they're the ones that are, so you got to be smart, you got to stay ahead of their trends, because they're not necessarily my trends. I'm 35 years old. They're, it's on their 20s, they're a little bit younger than me. They have a different trend than, what was trending when I was 20 years old. But it's important for us to be able to know what's in demand and be able to supply that demand, by being smart and staying ahead of these trends, catching them on time, because you're going to be you got to be either the first one in or you're the last one out. If you're in the middle, it's a little bit more competitive, but if you're in the beginning of the middle, you're probably going to catch the peak of the price action on a lot of these items that are selling because of a trend, a new movie, entertainment personalities, like that, new products. Like I know in the very beginning, when a couple years ago when Billie Eilish came out, Billie Eilish was brand new pop star, very popular with young girls, and her shirts with her face on it were great to sell. You got Travis Scott after he performed in the Super Bowl. Anything that says Travis Scott now, it says Cactus Jack on it, is gold. And that continues to be true even now.
And there are things that were, even and it's funny. Then there are those things that sustain over time, right? Ninja Turtles, right? Power Rangers, Hot Wheels. I mean, those things. Now
all of these things take us into the one method to find that pot of gold that we still haven't talked about, which is online arbitrage.
Yep.
So Ninja Turtles is true because they're timeless. And Ninja Turtles, they're timeless. Hot Wheels releases limited edition Hot Wheels very frequently, and if you're able to get in their Hot Wheels clubs, you know what I mean, you have access to some of those Hot Wheels. If you're out doing treasure hunts, that's completely different because you'll be doing retail arbitrage, but you can source these things online.
Right. And I think when you're looking at certain things like this, right? So you're talking about, like you were saying about, the younger generation, the people in their 20s and stuff, or people, or even, when younger adults start having kids and stuff like that, a lot of times they see things and oh, Ninja Turtles. I had Ninja Turtles when I was little. Let me, I think my son would have liked Ninja Turtles. Oh, I had Barbies. I think yep. Yeah. Raphael. I think my daughter would like Barbie dolls. You know what I'm saying? So, along those lines and everything. I wanted to highlight this, before we, as we're talking about it, he said, but research and videos are great for basic info, but nothing beats the real life experience. And that is the truth, because just remember something, especially when it comes to videos. People are only going to show you what they want you to see. They're only going to talk about what they want you to hear. Right? I mean, that's the truth, right? I mean, look, not everybody's going to go ahead. Everybody's not going to share everything on a video with people. Some people are.
I can share so much stuff, and I know a lot of people will get so upset. You know what I mean? But it's true. Not everybody's going to be transparent about what it is that they're selling, and then share all the information. No, they're going to tell you what it is that they want to share. They're going to keep bits and pieces of it for themselves. You know what I mean? Which that's why it's very true. You can learn a lot from watching videos. You can learn a lot from research and everything like that. But experience and doing it yourself is the best teacher, because I can tell you all day how to pack, how to ship, how to source, you know what I mean? But how much of that is really going to stick when it comes down to you doing it, yourself? You know what I mean? You really got to go out and you really got to be able to source properly, to make smart decisions. And what's going to teach you, in the words of Pablo Escobar, experience is the best teacher.
Yeah, it really is. And the only way that's going to happen is for you to get out there and go to different places. If you're going to the same places, like, you have, I don't know, you have 5 places that you go to, whatever it may be, and you go and you don't find, you go and you don't find, you go and you don't find, right? You go over all that kind of stuff. You have to then, you have to branch out. You have to think of other things. If you, not saying that you can't be successful if you try and stick to one type of a store to buy from, or one type of method. If you say, look, I'm going to do online arbitrage, I'm going to search the internet for deals, and that's how I'm going to buy my stuff. Yes, you can do that. You can easily go ahead and find plenty of stuff. If you're a garage sale, yard sale person, again, estate sale person, if you live down in Miami, if you live probably in parts along the southern of parts of the United States, those are plentiful and they pretty much happen all year round. If you're in Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, and you only want to rely on yard sales and garage sales, you can, but that means you better be super hustling and not miss any of them during your season, because if that's the only way you're comfortable getting product, when all those things close, then you need to be able to go to the garage or go somewhere, go to your storage unit and get a bunch of stuff to keep feeding your store and keep listing and keep getting products as you're selling. Or you develop other methods, other places that you feel that you need to learn to source online, going to thrift stores, going to, other types of retail things. Don't be afraid. I found some decent products in the grocery store.
I never knew that Publix. I never knew that Publix had a clearance.
Yeah.
Publix has a lot of things that are on clearance.
Yeah,
sections.
Yep, I have found a bunch of stuff. I mean, when we talked about Hot Wheels before, one of my best selling Hot Wheels items I found in clearance at Kroger. I didn't find it at Walmart or Target or another type of toy store, or a toy store going out of business. I found pop culture discontinued Hot Wheels in a Kroger and bought them. I mean, it's hard to go ahead and find that stuff on a normal basis, but you don't be afraid to look there. Don't be afraid to look anywhere.
I'm sourcing everywhere I go.
Right. I always look. I go to BJ's. I go to a Costco. I mean, no matter where it is that you go, the opportunity is always there.
And the only place that I don't source is a gas station, because I pay at the pump. You know what I mean? That's it. If I'm at Walgreens, if I'm at Walmart, Publix, AutoZone, whatever it is, you make a quick trip around the store, see what it is that they got, scan a couple items, if you're in a rush, scan a couple more if you're not that much in a rush, but it's that's the way that you're going to end up finding these pots of golds.
Yeah. Hey, and you gotta search there, and I think the thing is that, the other thing, and as we're getting close here, I would say is, if you're going to do, retail arbitrage, if you're going to go to, the Walmarts, the Targets, and so on and so forth, Don't be afraid to look in areas that you normally would not look in. Everybody thinks the clearance aisle or the little clearance end caps is the place to go ahead and go all the time. And, but that's what most people think along those ways. But don't be afraid to go down a different type of an aisle. Go down, the baby aisle. I just saw Marie put in there about new grandbabies. So I mean, the baby aisle. I don't know, the men's shoe aisle. You don't, because you don't know where you're going to find stuff. You really don't.
Yeah, you can find the I'm gonna say. I mean, you can find the machines, the breast pumps, in the baby aisle.
Yeah. I mean, so
those are.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's amazing, like you say, and the other thing I would say as we're getting ready to wrap up and is we in America, we're very we move around a lot, right? People get transferred a lot. You all of a sudden, you're living in Georgia, and then you're living in Texas, or you're living in California. The next thing you're moving in other places and stuff. Here in Atlanta, where I am, there are a lot of companies who have their headquarters here, but there are a lot of people who come and go, come and go, come and go, come and go. Another thing to think about when it comes to sourcing is products that are local to your area that are not typically sold outside of your area. Because that person who grew up in Atlanta and and been here for 35 years and 40 years, and there was that one spice or something that their mom always cooked with, and then they cooked with, and now they moved to Oregon. Well, pretty much the only way they're going to find it, what I'm saying, is to buy it online. Why are you smirking?
Laughing at Marie.
Oh. I live with Marie. She has some grandbabies, and she's saying, "Whoop, right there." I live in the baby clearance aisle. 2 grandbabies, 3 months apart. My wild ain't that damn big. That's true. That is true.
And they're your grandbabies, so that you didn't even get the stimulus check for them.
Right. Mom and Dad got that. Mom and Dad got that. So hey, we've been going for about an hour and everything. I hope it was helpful. I don't, it was more of ideas. It's about like what we're saying, the things that we're trying to do, where we're trying to move along is take you through that journey of just things that we have done. Of building, thinking about getting started and building, and some of the things that we have learned along the way. I mean, I am by far an expert. I don't claim to be one, but I know a lot of the mistakes that I've made, and if I can share those types of things with you to make your life just a little bit easier, so you don't make one mistake. So is there one thing you thought about, and when you're out there, you went, "Oh my goodness gracious," Goomba and Oscar were talking about that the other night. Holy cow. I don't want to buy, I'm not going to buy this. And if you could not go ahead and do that, then that's what, then we've done, we've done a service, and that's what we are trying to do. Yep. Walmart app is awesome. The Walmart app is awesome. And here's another thing. Don't forget, the Walmart app doesn't just work at Walmart. Mm-hmm. So if you're shopping somewhere, you could take the Walmart app out, scan that product, and you might find that maybe you can buy that product for $5-6 less at Walmart. And Walmart's only right across the parking lot.
Mm-hmm. And then in some stores will price match.
Right. Or some stores will go ahead and price match if you don't have one right near you. So Walmart app is great. Just remember, you don't have to use it just at Walmart. So with that, Oscar, any closing not arguments, any closing words of encouragement for the lovely crew that we have watching us?
Just get out there and source, you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I learned more from my mistakes than from watching YouTube videos, to be completely honest. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna do the same mistake twice. It's kind of like that horse, the The riddle about that horse.
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah. Last thing I want to say, this weekend, Saturday, 9 p.m. on Fat Man the Flippers channel. That Man the Flippers channel.
Yeah, that man.
That Man the Flippers channel. You know what I mean? Bad Boys of Reselling at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then we're gonna have another reselling show, another reselling show next Wednesday, 10 p.m. on my channel.
Yep. Yeah, and I will say, you know, understand something. Any failure that you have is only a failure if you don't learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there has been no invention ever. I could be 100% wrong, but I would doubt that there is any invention ever made, that came out the way it was expected to the first time. Right? You know, people do things, they fail, so on and so forth. I think it was Michael, when you talk about failure and don't be afraid to fail, but learn from failure. I think, who was it? Michael Jordan said, yeah, everybody cheers about all the winning shots I made, but they don't understand the thousands and thousands that I went ahead and missed. Right. So don't worry about it. If you come across something, if you make a mistake, that's fine. Don't be afraid of them. Just learn from it. And then it's not 100% failure. You learn something, everything is cool. I have my other channel with my son, our sports card trading card channel. We have a premiere tomorrow at 12:30. Huddle card. I don't think I put it. I said I think the YouTube or the IG, something's down below. I think it's the YouTube. We sent a card submission in. We got those grades coming back. That's tomorrow. And then we've been on our odd days. We've been releasing videos on every odd day for right now. So every other day we're releasing pretty cool stuff. Bringing back memories, just cool stuff like doing it. I mean, it's great to be able to do some stuff with my son and everything. It's a lot of fun from that standpoint. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for coming. If you would do us a favor, going ahead and hit that thumbs up as you're heading out. It doesn't cost anything. It helps us out a lot, gets us noticed, gets our videos or our shows and stuff out and where people can go ahead and watch them again, and they can go ahead and learn some good stuff like everybody else. So we appreciate every single one of you. We love every single one of you. We thank every single one of you for coming. And with that, we will see you next week on the Big Man Show.